everybody were talking. They brought some people to talk about the issues of the communities. One of the issues was the internet. The guy was giving all the spiel, what's the problem of the internet. So when he finished, I raised my hand and said, Shkoyach, we know the problem maybe better than you. You live in Brooklyn, we live here. Everybody has, I don't need you to know the problem. I need you to, do you have any resolutions, any aids on what to do? He said, the idea of this meeting is that all of the Rabbonim together, few Rabbonim will take a chrayus, and hopefully you're going to find a solution. I said, okay. So when it was over, Rabbi Feldman came and he spoke to us. Afterwards, we came to the bar and we said, no, he spoke with us, and then he said, nothing going to come out of this convention, of this meeting. So, why not? Rabbi Feldman is a very positive guy. Put us down, nothing going to come out. So he told us the following. He said, 50 years ago, I was in a convention with the Dalia Sher, and they were talking about the Russian Jews. And it was a big convention, and the Dalia Sher told me, after the convention, nothing going to come out of this place. So the Rabbi Feldman said, I asked the Dalia Sher, why not? He said, look, for anything to be successful, you need one Meshuga Ladover. He said, I didn't see any Meshuga Ladover over here, so nothing going to come out. So the Rabbi Feldman told us, he said, I didn't see any Meshuga Ladover over here, nothing going to come out. The only way to succeed in building Moisés and develop the world, Yiddishkeit, you need Meshuga Ladover. So if I might give the honor to the Rav, this is the highest scope. The difference between people who build and the people who didn't build is not the financial abilities. It's the more Meshuga Ladover, the more successful you are. So this is what we see over here. It's only the beginning of Rabbi Smith. Beginning, that's what Hashem should give you more and more Mishigas. In order to develop the Torah, we should see more and more Be'ezrat Hashem. So thank you so much for the schools of this community that you built over here. I know you take it for granted, but whatever I have a schools over here, to David over here, I go over to the Rav, I said, thank you for the Mokum Torah. Unbelievable. When the first time when the Rav started, I told him, what's wrong with you? Away from the whole community. He said, I don't want to do machlikas with anybody. I want to do it calm. I looked at him, I'm like, okay, now let's see what's going on. And for us, a Yom of a Kedmo, Tzafena Vanagva Omein. So I have this was to speak of this week, Parsha Noach. When we see Noach, the action and behavior, he seems to be a very, very strong person, very healthy person, who can go against the whole society. He can handle the pressure of 120 years when everybody's bashing him and putting him down, and he's still so strong. No matter what we're doing, the table, we're building it, we're making it happen. When he came out of the table, he acted like one of the teenagers. We're going to see more area where he acted like a teenager, but the main one, he started planting, having wine, getting drunk. After getting drunk, his son, his grandson, sometimes it was Messiah said, cannot give children anymore, Mishkav Zocher. Why this is there? First, why is he acting like that? Second, why this is the reward for such a man, such a special, who saved the whole generation. We hear because of him, and the end of it, why it was a alcoholic and gay, he made him into gay, Mishkav Zocher. What's going on? This is one of the, somebody has to describe it as she Tzadik Tamim, that's the end of him. It's interesting to see the way they came into the table. Hashem says, go to the table, Ata, Uvanecha, Ve'ishtechon Shnei Vanecha, you, your children, your wife, and the wife of your children. Why? Says Rashi, Hashem told Noach, you and the animal not allowed to intimate in the table. So therefore you, your children, then your wife and their wives. When it was a time to come out of the table, Terah sent called Noach, Semin table, leave out the table, Ata, you, Ve'ishtecha, then your wife, Ubanecha, your children, and Neshiv Banecha. So Hashem permit Tashmish living out of the table. And Hashem extended even also to the animals. He said also animals are allowed to intimate. We expect Noach to listen to Hashem. However, the Pasuk says that nobody even talked about it. When Noach came out of the teva, Vayetze Noach, Ubonov, Ve'ishtoi, Unashebano. So when he came out of the teva, he didn't listen to Hashem. He left his children, then his wife, and then the children of the wife's children. Hashem telling you to live in a certain way, and there seems to be rebellions against Hashem. What's going on? How come not behave on such a way? Rashi later on can give an answer for that. Rashi said when Hashem says, "V'ani ineni mekim et briti Yisrael," I'm doing a special covenant, special bridge between you and I. They're not going to be mabul anymore. Even though Hashem promised there will be no mabul, yet Hashem made an extra layer. Because Rashi said that Noach was afraid maybe the mabul going to happen again, and therefore he didn't intimate with his wife. So says Rashi, that's why Hashem had to give him another layer of a promise that don't worry, there will not going to be mabul. But the question to Noach, he was coming with Hashem. If Hashem told you there's going to be mabul, why do you need a special promise? What's going on over there? So it's interesting. When the animals came out of the teva, there is a special description that they received the first living creation in the world. The Torah says they came out of the teva to their families, which means the first time the Torah introduced the word family is by the Hemos. That's where the word family came from. It's very hard. Why family doesn't come first by human being? We have family. Do you ever see a family name by an animal? We don't have family. We have the family. Why is the Torah giving us family names through the animal? So we're thinking that the word mishpacha comes also from the word shifcha, female slave. It says kene shifcho aliyat gevirto. What is the specialty of shifcha? A female slave to her master, female master. Men get along well. Men and women, depends if you're working with this. Women and women don't get along well. It's too fire together, doesn't work well. The highest level of description doesn't work if one woman needs to service another woman. It's not going to work because she has her own opinion, everything. Both of them has no patience for each other. And we married, so our wife can be upset and we're going to be fine. Okay, I'm listening. But when one woman upset, the other one upset, you have nothing to do. So shifcho, the female slave and her master, it is the highest level of mevatel herself. I am nobody for my servant. Because if she's somebody, there is no way for one woman to handle to service another woman. The only way to be able to service is completely people. You got to say, I'm nobody. That's why I said, Cain is sheep, like, she's looking after her, as I am a nobody, you the master of the universe, you the sheep. That's step one. Step two, I was looking into the family of the animal. How does the animal create family? Everybody get married, right? So, how does the animal create families? It's very interesting. The intimacy of families between animals doesn't come from pleasure at all. When animals intimate, it comes only from the need to multiply, not for the need of pleasure. They intimate only on the time of ovulation, not in any other time. So the whole intimacy of animal begins with understanding we have to multiply, not for any pleasure whatsoever. Number one. Number two, on animals, when they do multiply, what happens with their kids? We see here in Hollywood, you see a mommy duck with small cute ones. 10, 11, Gishmak. You ever see big mommy with big 10 following her? Never. Each one take his own direction. So if you look at the animal, basically, they multiply without any pleasure to it, just for the sake of the future. Nothing about them. It's all about the future. Which means, the yesod of a family in the Torah, we learn it for the animals. If you want to create a healthy family, number one, we're not bringing children for our own pleasure, for our own sake. Neither to be a Yishtan Chochem, or to be, the American says that this is my son the doctor, this is my son the lawyer. None of them. When we bring kids to the world, nothing about us. But the most important, all of the investment that we do for the kids, we should expect zero to receive back. Just as the animal invests of the kids in nothing about her, it's all about the future of the animal that she's not going to see tomorrow. We've been after the Chagim, so as a Rav, we get the Shlom Bayis phone call. Look, my mother-in-law put pressure that we stay with me by her. It didn't work out, and she's upset. What should I do now? And the other side, and my wife, she doesn't know how to say no. And then my mother called me, and she said, all these issues coming from expectation of parents. I raise you. I deserve to receive from you. The Gemara bringing the tiny about Choni Amagel that he saw a man who planted a charuvi, parab tree. He said, how long is it going to take to grow a tree? He said, 70 years. He said, you look too old to eat those fruits. He said, no, when I came to the world, my parents left me already a tree. And I'm leaving it for the next kid. He's not going to see the nachas, of his word. The true definition of family is by understanding it's nothing about me, and I have nothing to worry about the future. My responsibilities for today. Most of the chinuch mistakes that parents are doing with kids, I have the zchut to deal with teenagers, and this year I got to the next level. We have a yeshiva of bochim with challenge who joined our place. So you see bochim that came from Mamesh, the most frum homes, and they wanted to show without a kippah, and it doesn't even bother them. Mamesh, nothing. Where is that? When the parents raise a child, and you want to make sure what's going to do with the child to grow up according to his plan, that's the biggest danger for a child. Because many of them needs different direction. But if the parents raise a child for him to grow the way he can be, not what my neighbor is going to see, and my father going to say, and my nephews who are more yeshivish, and my son is not yeshivish now, then I have a problem, so I need to push him to change the haircut, so he's going to look more that, then you're raising him for your children. You're missing the whole foundation of the parents and of a family. Hashem told Noah when he came into the Sheva, to the table, you cannot have intimacy, that's not the time. When they came out, Hashem told Noah, now it's a time to rebuild the world, to create the world. So go you and your wife and act like regular husband and wife. But Noah has a big problem. Noah lived in a post-trauma, by the way. He has a post-trauma of, he saw a world that was built, created, and then everything destroyed. He said, Noah, why am I going to bring kids now? And later on things will be destroyed. What's the solution for such a man? Hashem said, okay, I'm not going to bring any more mabul. It wasn't enough. You need a special grace, special covenants with Hashem that will be no mabul. Somebody who experienced a post-trauma, the only way to relieve it and to move on, it's not to be worried for the trauma that they've been through. It's moving forward and taking care of other people. When Hashem told Noach, you got to go out of the teva and be with your wife and raise a new family, that's the only way to rebuild past. My Rosh Yeshiva, or his wife, about 10 years ago was the 50th, the 50th years of the yeshiva. And Rosh Yeshiva stood up to speak, and everybody were clapping. He built unbelievable Moses and Torah. When everybody said, he said, let me tell you who the credit belonged to. The name of the yeshiva is called Beis Moshe Chaim. There was a man by the name Moshe Chaim Berkowitz, and his son Rabbi Berkowitz. He was a Holocaust survivor. Yeshiva told us once that he was in Buchenwald camp. When the Americans freed the camp, they said to each other, what's we going to do now? He said, let's eat. Now finally we can eat. So his brother told them, it's funny, his father became a Satmar Chosed later. He lived in Borough Park, I think. So his father told him, let's daven Mincha. So you did a Jew, we said, we couldn't daven Mincha for so long. We ate. But Mincha, we didn't daven in the middle of the day. So they went to daven Mincha. Right after daven Mincha, they went to eat and nothing left. Came out that the Nazis in Shimon, they poisoned all of the food. So all those who ate foods died and they stayed alive. So Moshe said the following, he said, when I started the yeshiva in Miami Beach, he said, he joined me and he carried the yeshiva with me much more than I carried the yeshiva. And he explained why. He said, my driving as the Rosh Yeshiva for the yeshiva was Torah driving. I want to live with some Torah. He said, Moshe Chaim Berkowitz was driving from pain. He saw 6 million plus Jews died during the Holocaust. After the Holocaust, the way he came to the yeshiva, he attacked his pain by building Am Yisrael, by building the future. He said when there were problems in the yeshiva, I felt uncomfortable seeing him worried more than me. I am the head of the yeshiva, Yet he was worried much more than me just for the sake of the yeshiva. He was living by pain. The reason we got the buildings, the reason we got the institution moving forward, because you have a guy who really been in trauma. He lost everything, but the way he dealt with it, he was pushing forward by building, by developing. Noah had the same trauma, probably the same as the Holocaust. He saw the world destroyed. Hashem gave him the solution as soon as he came out, but he couldn't handle it. Hashem had to promise him that the world would not be destroyed, and then he was willing to bring children. From at this point, when he brings children, it's not for the world, it's for himself. He dealing with very deep trauma. So the next step, when a person taking care of himself, he starts drinking wine. He became an alcoholic. And that's a classic symptom of a post-trauma today. People have been through big tragedy and difficult times in life, they're going into drinking. The story unfortunately ends when he was unable to bring children. Because the whole purpose of Noah coming out of the Teva, Hashem saved them to develop, to continue the world. If you have no earth, if you do everything for yourself, the world could stop, should end over there. You should not be part of this world and let others develop the world. And I think the Nafkemine to us, Halacha Lemaise, we all live in family. And I want to add one more item that we see from the animals, but the only way to invest in children is by investing on the parents. Parents intend to spend time with the kids instead of spending time with themselves. In our world, we think that in order to develop better kids, we need to take care of them, to do chavrusa with them, to learn with them. Everything is crucial. But the first thing we're letting the animal, they take care of each other as a pair, as a couple. I'm just suggesting, anything wrong, let me know. Usually, I think in our generation, every couple should at least spend an hour clean every night, just talking to each other. We go through so much throughout the day with the kids, with family, everybody. We forgot that we have a mission. And sometimes we talk so much about the kids and we forgot to talk about ourselves. I think it's a responsibility to build the foundation of the family, to take care of each other, but at least spending 1 hour at night. It's a minimum of an hour. I had a couple recently, a big Shalom Bayis issue, and he went into start smoking things he shouldn't smoke, but late. So they sat with me, and I told them, okay, before we move forward on the next 2 weeks, every night you have to talk to each other, an hour spent quality time. So both of them looked at me, Rabbi, we have nothing to talk about. For an hour to talk? I said, okay, 45 minutes. I said, Rabbi, it's too much. I said, try it. I met him one day, and he looked very tired. I'm like, what's going on? He says, Rabbi, because of you, I went to sleep at 1:30 at night. When a couple, people build a relationship, they see the closeness, they feel their potential, they see their ability to invest in the family. And that's the only way to raise healthy kids. It's not about the kid, it's about us as a couple, as parents. You also have the schools to develop ourselves, to have healthy family, good kids, in the area. Amen.